You grew up all the time. You've been a Claremore resident. Uh, what we like to ask when we're talking on these is how Claremore is different today than when you were in the high school.
In the years of myself and, all the guys I ran around with, Steve Neely was in that class, George Pritchard, Steve Clark, Paul Pixley. Quite a few of us are here still that graduated in that class. Robert Hurst, who's now deceased, he was in that class. And the list goes on.
Oh yeah, and all successful Claremore
I,
businessmen,
I,
pretty much.
I think there's only one guy wound up in prison out of my class.
Is that right?
But other than that,
We won't mention him
yeah.
for
Uh,
various reasons.
Claremore, when we were kids, which would also include you in that time period, was so much what it was like the preceding 25 or 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
It really didn't change that much. I mean, Nemar, to the best of my remembrance, wasn't built until after we got out of high school.
No, it was built when I was in the service,
1960.
which would have been 67, 68.
Yeah. Yeah, so there really wasn't anything that side of town
No,
except very little.
had no reason to go across the tracks.
Not really, unless you go in the swimming pool or the memorial or OMA. But other than that, or out of town, going to
And
Collinsville.
little golf.
But no, Claremore then was a Claremore that we enjoyed that was very, very much like what my dad enjoyed. I mean, if you ask me how many people are in Claremore at the time, I'll say 5,000, maybe 5,500. But pretty much the merchants in Claremore were the same or in the same place, maybe a different name, as what my dad, experienced, 20 years earlier. I say 20 years earlier, 42 and 68, whatever the difference is. But Claremore is just a solid town, and the merchants and the business leaders were very much in tune with making Claremore a nicer place.
And the same people who run the businesses, you would maybe be in church with them Sundays.
Well,
Or
my dad served 2 terms in the 50s on the city council.
okay.
And then after he retired, one, and then they changed, so 1 and a part of 1 council time period, as a councilman. And those people that you bought a meal from, bought a pair of jeans from, they bought a dress or whatever you bought in downtown, you did a lot of it in downtown, because Tulsa, though mileage-wise it isn't any closer today, but you go to Tulsa a lot more than you did back then. Yeah. So it was a very vibrant downtown. And
you could get anything you needed downtown at the time.
Yeah, and Thursday night was a late shopping night.
Late night.
They stayed open till 8 o'clock, and that was a good shopping night. To go out, and because people didn't get off time to 8 to 5 is when everything opened and closed down, and Saturday after 5 o'clock you couldn't buy a gallon of gas unless you went out to the turnpike and visited Jerome or
Jerome Riley.
Jerome Riley or Mr. Grimmett. They ran the Howard Johnson's gas station out there at that time. But no, Claremore was a great place to live, and very few rentals, in the town. Very few rentals like we have today. And just about everybody here worked. I mean, and when you went to school, you knew, like Robert Hurst was at the Methodist church, and the Pixleys were at the Catholic church, and I mean, you even knew where somebody went to church. And a lot of times, you'd know their father and mother and their grandfolks. And no, it was a pretty solid community, and man, Friday night was football night. And
Town closed down on the Friday nights.
I'm telling you it did. And you drove. There'd always be a group of people that, drove to the games. And at that time, we were in the Verdigris Valley, conference. And in my high school class, we were tri-conference champs in football, co-conference champs in basketball, conference champs in baseball, and we sent some people to state and track.
Thank you very much for being with us. I have thoroughly enjoyed it.
I
Like I said,
appreciate
it
it.
was kind of a spur of the moment thing on my part. I didn't know I was going to get to do this, but thank
Well,
you for asking for me.
Thanks for the invitation. I'm glad to do it. And I mean, this is, if somebody does want to come and check out and listen to somebody, I know you've got a lot of people's voices and faces, and they can have an idea of who that individual was. I think this is a good effort.
Well,